me. It's in my bag everywhere.
Consumer Reports' Paul Reynolds is also impressed with the Kindle 2.
The type is crisp and you can easily change the size. Turning the page is about as fast as turning the page of a real book, and if you get tired of reading, the Kindle will read to you.
It was just sort of a buzzing sensation.
And he found the Kindle surprisingly simple to use.
No computer is needed. You connect wirelessly to Amazon's huge collection of ebook titles, pick the book you want, and it downloads directly to the Kindle in less than a minute.
There's no connection charge, and the bestsellers cost about $10. Sony has an ebook reader too, called the Reader. The newest one has the same screen size as the Kindle and costs about the same, around $350. Sony's bookstore has fewer titles, but you do get easy access to Google's library of free classics. But with the Sony, there's a lot more steps. You have to install software on your computer, then download the book. Then you have to transfer it with a USB cord. For e-readers on the go, like Karen Taggart, Consumer Reports says the wireless Kindle is a lot easier to use.
Gary Waddell reporting. Amazon planning to introduce a new Kindle, the DX. That'll be this summer. The company says it'll have a bigger screen than the Kindle 2 and is designed for people to read newspapers more easily. Have a bigger price, too, estimated around $489. Las Vegas entertainer Bette Midler and Serendipity 3 have teamed up for a great locals deal. In honor of the first day of summer, which is Sunday, the Divine Miss M is offering tickets for locals now through the 28th. Locals can pick from seats in the mezzanine starting at $50 or a full-price ticket and then get a free section upgrade. You can score on the deal by going to the Caesars box office online or by typing in BET when you buy your ticket at Ticketmasters. The password is B, M as in Mary, U, P as in Paul, grade. So BM upgrade. Following the show, locals can get a free Divine Showgirl Sundae with the purchase of any entree at Serendipity 3. Okay, so moms tend to get upset when their kids go missing. Understandable. But this story isn't about your typical mom and daughter relationship. That's Bigwig the chicken. The mother hen who lives with her owner in L.A. adopted a little kitten named Tofu. The owner says when Tofu ran away, Bigwig got pretty upset, but don't worry. After painting a mural on her home about the missing kitten, a neighbor found Tofu and the mother-daughter back together again and doing well. Boy, you're right. That's an unlikely pairing.
That
sure.
It really is, but hey, it works, right?
You know, I love the weather today. It was kind of cool and shady.
Yes.
Every once in a while, it's nice.
Right, and it's not, I mean, the average high is 99 degrees, so we'll go ahead and take this because the heat is heading back, Dave, and it'll get here probably about the middle of the week. So once again, a nice cool day out there, a lot of cloud cover. We do have a storm system actually working its way through the valley right now, and that storm will maybe give us a 20% chance of a shower later on tonight into tomorrow, and then we're just getting ready for that ridge to build back, and when that happens, that means the heat will return here. In fact, we've got a couple of 100-degree days on the 7-day forecast. So a little bit of humidity outside too. Numbers for the most part in the 20s. So this is not typical this time of year. You see a little bit of moisture out there, a lot of cloud cover, so maybe somewhat sticky out there as we have this system working its way over towards the east in the airflow pressure. We're currently at 82 degrees out at the airport. The wind down the north at 5 miles per hour. East Cary at 84, East Washington at 82. So once again, this is very cool for this time of year. Mountain Vista at 84. You have all the cloud cover outside, limiting sunshine, and so there it is. It is cooler outside. Overton, though, down to the south at 91. Lake Mead at 87. Premier in the lower 80s. Sandy Valley at 80. Laughlin down the south at 86 degrees. So once again, temperatures for the most part nice and mild. You can see Indian Springs in the upper 70s. And Boulder City right now at 83. So we have a lot of cloud cover for the second day in a row because we have this airflow pressure right off the coast pulling in this moisture from the ocean, and so it'll be here through the evening. Now tomorrow we'll see a lot more sunshine because this airflow pressure will begin to push off to the east. We'll get rid of it, but you see all the cloud cover in place right now. For the most part, they are cirrus clouds. A quick look at the radar, and you can see we have a couple of showers towards the northern part of the state, a couple of showers down towards Beatty, and most of the moisture over towards the east as well. So we're kind of stuck here right in the middle, and as this airflow pressure kind of slowly works its way out to the east, maybe a spotty shower here in the valley later on tonight, but for the most part, probably not going to happen. So here's the jet stream here still in place. We still have that trough here right now, so that means that's why it's cooler today. But once we get this ridge together, get here by the middle of the week, we'll start to see things begin to heat up, and we're talking about temperatures where we should be this time of year in the upper 90s. So tonight we'll probably see a low right around 70 with a lot of cloud cover, and you can see the winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your forecast for tomorrow still, I think, will be in the 80s, in the upper 80s, partly cloudy with a chance of a shower, and then there's a look at that 7-day forecast. So once that ridge gets here, Thursday 96, and you get back to where we should be, a high of 100 on Friday, a little bit cooler Saturday and Sunday as summer arrives on Sunday, by the way, and then we get back to the upper 90s Monday and Tuesday. Right. So it's been nice, this little break, but looks like the heat is going to come back in a couple days.
Summer you kind of expect 100.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Darren. You know, prom season may be over for a lot of high schools across the country, but for children who have to spend their young years being treated for cancer in a hospital, it was time to get ready for their big dance. Meet Aiden and Megan and Ashley, just 3 of the many children with cancer at the Memorial Sloan Kettering's Cancer Center in New York. But for just this moment, they were able to forget about their cancer thanks to the annual pediatric prom.
That's the magic, is that they go from kids who are sick, who have a sickness and illness, and they feel so beautiful.
You're always feeling sick all the time, and it's kind of not so great, but in the dress I didn't really feel sick. I felt, you know, beautiful and happy, and I felt normal.
And just for this day, the kids got to become the beautiful princes and princesses, as you see, as they focus on fun instead of, you know, chemo or radiation. Well, it was the joke heard across the country. Now the funny man who made it is apologizing to the governor he offended.
This portion of Eyewitness News in HD is brought to you by Ted Ween's Complete Auto Service. This is Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 4 in high definition.
The Las Vegas-based owners have pleaded guilty to distributing a tainted ingredient that was used to make pet food that killed potentially thousands of animals. Sally Quing Miller and her husband Stephen S. Miller, along with their company ChemNutra Incorporated, pleaded guilty to some of the charges contained in a federal indictment. They're accused of bringing wheat gluten tainted with the chemical melamine into the U.S., which was then sold to pet food makers. Thousands of cats and dogs reportedly became sick or died from eating that tainted food. Well, a closed road in the Southwest is driving a local man crazy. He's had to change his entire commute, and he's not happy about it. Melissa Torres explains why this road is being shut down.
Russ says he's been living in the Southwest for years and is frustrated that he's been forced to change his entire commute. He says the issue is that Tenaya Way is suddenly closed between Wigwam and Pebble. He says we can no longer turn left onto Blue Diamond from Bel Castro or Monte Cristo. We now have to drive all the way over to Buffalo or take Pebble to Rainbow. Now, the only problem with that is after 3 p.m., you're basically taking your life into your own hands because it's so backed up, people start to drive crazy. Well, despite all of the construction and growth in the Southwest, this section of Tenaya is private property and hasn't been developed yet. Because it is a dirt road, drivers are using it as a shortcut. Now, the county had to close it because it was causing huge dust storms in the area. There are plans to have this section of Tenaya paved and drivable someday, but until the owner starts the work, there is no exact date of when. In the meantime, the county will study the area and decide if short-term improvements can be made to help drivers here. Let me know what's driving you crazy. Email me, traffic8@klastv.com.
David Letterman says he is sorry for his joke about Alaska Governor Sarah Palin's daughter. Last night, the host of The Late Show said some people may have been outraged by the joke because of what he says is a misunderstanding.
I'm sorry about it, and I'll try to do better in the future. Thank you very much.
Last week, he joked about Governor Palin's daughter getting knocked up by Alex Rodriguez while at a Yankees game. Letterman says he meant to refer to Palin's 18-year-old daughter, Bristol, but it was actually Palin's 14-year-old daughter, Willow, who had been at the game. At the time, the governor said in a statement that laughter incited by sexually perverted comments made by a 62-year-old male celebrity aimed at a 14-year-old girl is disgusting. And now Governor Palin says she accepts Letterman's apology. Well, first it was the automotive industry, GM and Chrysler going bankrupt. Now a new transportation industry has lost billions. Next at 4:30, we find out if it'll follow in the footsteps of automakers.
You're watching the station that's #1 in news, morning, noon, and night. In May, the I-Team exposed a local teacher accused of preying on women.
I thought he was going to kill me.
An investment opportunity that could leave you broke.
There was nothing left, all the money had been gone.
And an innocent child trapped in the middle of a domestic dispute spanning 2 continents.
You're going to deal with me for the next 20 years.
Thank you, Southern Nevada, for making Channel 8 your #1 choice. Experience Eyewitness News.
Closed captioning of Eyewitness News is brought to you by the accredited Chest Pain Center at Valley Hospital, dedicated to rapidly diagnosing and treating cardiovascular disease.
Now, your #1 4:30 newscast. Channel 8 Eyewitness News in HD.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Gary and Denise have the day off. The political world is buzzing with today's dramatic and emotional announcement from Senator John Ensign. Nevada's junior senator told reporters that he had had an affair with a staffer. Channel 8 Eyewitness News is live. Amanda Hernandez is outside the senator's office. Amanda.
Well, Paula, Senator Ensign said that he wanted to return home to make today's announcement. It was a brief statement that he read, and then he refused to answer any questions after that. Now, what he did tell us is that last year he had an affair with a woman who is close to his family. Senator Ensign said he didn't want to release the woman's name he had been with, but that both her and her husband were close to him. Although Senator Ensign says that his marriage is now closer because of this indiscretion, he says the affair began out of a bad time in his marriage.
That closeness put me into situations during a very difficult time in my marriage, which led to my inappropriate behavior. We caused deep pain to both families. For that, I'm truly sorry.
Again, the senator did not want to answer any questions, so it was not exactly clear what prompted today's admission. However, the senator does sit on several powerful committees there in Washington, and he is rumored to be a possible presidential candidate in the next election. For now, we're reporting live. Amanda Hernandez, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Amanda, thank you. Police say they've solved a cold case that has eerie similarities to a crime last week. Detectives used old DNA evidence and a new sex offender database to track down a suspect in the rape and murder of 7-year-old Diana Hernandez 15 years ago. Police say Gregory Wallen is the girl's killer. In 1992, 2 years before the Hernandez murder, he was arrested for sexual assault in Pahrump. But that case had not been fully decided by 1994, and there was no sex offender database then. Eyewitness News was investigating the murder back in 1994. In our old video, you can see detectives scouring the area around the Sandpiper apartments. What they didn't know until a few months ago was that Wallen actually lived in the same apartment building as the Hernandez family. He even took part in the search for her body. Wallen finally registered as a sex offender in 1999, allowing police to match his DNA with DNA found on Diana Hernandez. His fingerprints at the scene erased any other doubt for detectives.
We were able to make a positive match on our suspect who had been out there for approximately 15 years.
Wallen was arrested at his home in Pahrump. He faces charges of sexual assault of a minor and murder. He is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. A partial recount will take place in Iran's presidential election. Thousands have protested since Election Day, saying President Ahmadinejad's landslide victory was rigged. Charlie D'Agata has the latest.
The battle for the presidency of Iran is being waged on the streets of the capital. Iran's clerics have promised a partial recount of the vote after days of violent protests that left at least 7 people dead. Tens of thousands demonstrated for defeated candidate Mir Hussein Mousavi. They insist the election was rigged. Thousands more rallied behind the man who declared victory, President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. They accuse the outside world of stirring up trouble, shouting, "Down with America." President Obama says he won't meddle in Iran's election, but is deeply troubled by the aftermath.
I stand strongly with the universal principle that people's voices and not suppressed.
Iranian officials have banned foreign journalists from covering any more protests as they try to rein in the turmoil in Tehran. But anyone around the world with a computer can find out what's going on. Some protesters are using social networking sites like Twitter to get their message out and to get around security. This message says police are in my neighborhood, going house to house, taking some people away or beating those who resist. More than half of Iran's population is under 25, and the hundreds of images they're capturing on their cell phones are telling the story of the crisis. A crisis Iran's top clerics hope will end once the partial recount takes place. Charlie Daggett, CBS News, London.
And the U.S. is keeping its eye on North Korea. The Pentagon's second-in-command says North Korean missiles could threaten the continental U.S. A disaster if the missiles carry a nuclear warhead. The Deputy Defense Secretary also says he agrees with Senator John McCain that the U.S. should be prepared for a worst-case scenario. In the meantime, President Obama met with the president of South Korea to talk about the growing tension with its hostile neighbor to the north. President Obama says the U.S. and other nations must pursue a robust effort to implement the latest UN resolution aimed at punishing the reclusive nation for its nuclear program. The Air Force is now training more pilots to operate robotic planes than for regular flying. In fact, the number of drone operators being trained is greater than fighter and bomber pilots combined. The military uses Creech Air Force Base here in Nevada for drone training. The unmanned aircraft are used to track insurgents in Iraq and Afghanistan, and the Air Force plans to develop drones that would serve as fighters and bombers. Thousands of veterans might have been exposed to HIV and hepatitis B and C. A new report from the Veterans Administration Inspector General uncovered grievous mistakes. One involved a colonoscopy tube that was only cleaned at the end of the day instead of after every use. Now, veterans who went for routine preventive tests like colonoscopies have been called back for follow-up exams. So far, 6 have tested positive for HIV, 34 for hepatitis C, and 13 for hepatitis B. A congressional panel grilled officials from the Veterans Administration about the report, but VA leaders assured them changes are already being made.
If heads have to roll, heads have to roll. But at the same time, a veteran should feel very confident when they walk through the doors of a VA. Their health care will not be compromised.
We will provide the safest care for our veterans.
While VA officials insist the risk of exposure is minimal, they have called back 10,000 veterans for blood tests to see if they've been infected. Well, the afternoon commute is underway right now. Let's check in with Ken Smith, who's in the studio today. Ken.
That's right, and we're on the ground here this afternoon, but we're keeping a close eye on some major traffic issues, especially along I-15. We do have a traffic alert along the 15 here southbound right around Russell Road. We do have a multi-vehicular accident still being cleaned up at this hour. Traffic backed up pretty much almost all the way to the Spaghetti Bowl. I wanted to show you a live shot this afternoon from our Harris Tower camera. We got it zoomed in way off here to the south. So here's where the accident is on the southbound side of I-15, partially blocking the left-hand lane there and partially the middle lane. So heavy delay stretched back once again all the way into and through the Spaghetti Bowl. Let's take a look as well right around our Mulaski's corporate camera this afternoon. This is going to be the 15 freeway northbound, also gridlock all the way up to about Cheyenne. Your travel times here along the 15 freeway, if you're heading out the door, don't head south anytime soon from the Spaghetti Bowl to the 215 because of that accident at Russell. A 35-minute drive time northbound, sitting at about a 15-minute drive time, Paula. So 15 is a freeway to avoid.
Nice to see you in person, Ken.
Thanks.
Cirque du Soleil performers showed off their skills and set out to break a Guinness World Record on the Las Vegas Strip and around the world today, 5 years after first setting the Guinness World Record for the most people simultaneously walking on stilts. Cirque du Soleil attempted it again for their 25th anniversary. Stilt walkers gathered here and in 5 other cities, including Tokyo and Moscow, to try to break the record.
And we thought it was a good idea to bring everybody together to try to do it worldwide, which is the beautiful move about it, you know.
It's not official yet, but the previous record had 625 stilt walkers, and today Cirque du Soleil had more than 1,900 people participating. Still ahead, it's been 1 year since a Florida toddler went missing. We'll take a look at the case now and what the little girl's mother could face if convicted of her murder. And a girl flying to see her grandparents is put on the wrong flight. Where she wound up instead and why the airline didn't notice the problem.
Good afternoon. So far this month, we've had just a trace of rain. We've had a couple systems try and provide some rain for us. Take a look outside, overcast, and the radar has rain in the area. Are we going to get some here in southern Nevada? That's the question. We'll have your neighborhood forecast coming up.
The morning team on Channel 8. Smart news, warm weather, and smooth traffic. Children beaten to death. The story's often similar. Single moms, abusive boyfriends. Why some are so quick to snap and how to spot the warning signs. Then, frontside class action. Why some plaintiffs aren't happy with a lawsuit as they plea for the judge's help. An I-Team investigation. This is Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 4:30 in high definition.
Despite its own financial troubles, MGM Mirage is building another resort, this one outside the U.S. The corporation is partnering with an Egyptian developer to build a resort outside Cairo to open in 2013. The MGM Grand New Giza will have 550 rooms and will connect to the Egyptian Antiquities Museum, which is under construction now. The resort will be part of a development that will include homes, shopping, other hotels, restaurants, and a golf course. I guess they already knew how to build a pyramid,
exactly,
so they're way
yes.
ahead of the game, right?
Right, exactly.
Kind of a gloomy day today.
You know, but it's still cool outside, though,
Yes,
right? Everyone's
I love
going to
it.
like that. I know.
Yes.
It's been, we had the warmest May ever last month on record in Las Vegas, and now June so far has been very, very cool for this time of year. And I'm going to show you exactly why it's been cool coming here in a few seconds. So, live look outside, a lot of cumulus clouds in the area, dark clouds, and some of those are actually producing some light rain back towards the mountains. But once again, here in the valley, limited moisture, if any. So there's a look at the radar. So there is lots of green out there, but it seems like when we talk about getting some moisture here in southern Nevada, it just kind of falls apart as it kind of moves across the mountains. So far this month, we've only had a trace of rain, so nothing to speak of right now, although maybe later on tonight, we might get a shower there, and you can see some moisture south of Henderson right now as well. So here's the reason why it's been so cool for the past couple of weeks. The jet stream normally this time of year would be way up here in the Pacific Northwest, keeping all the cool air to the north. But look how it's dipped far down towards the south. It's been like that for the past couple of weeks, and that's allowed all the cool air to continue to filter into the area. Now, there's a ridge back towards the west. See that word warmer? That ridge will begin to build by the middle of the week, and when that happens, we're going to get back to where we should be, temperatures in the upper 90s near the 100-degree mark. Okay, temperature-wise outside right now, not too bad. Once again, very cool. East Cary at 84, the same for El Dorado. East Washington at 82. Mountain Vista, you're at 86. So once again, we're not talking about 90s. The average high now is 99 degrees. Look at Prump, you're at 78, cool there. Searchlight at 76. Boulder City at 82. And a quick look at some of the other numbers. Overton at 90. And see the current temperature in Laughlin at 85 degrees. So we have a lot of cloud cover, maybe a spotty shower tonight. I think we'll get down to about 70. That'll be our low. And the forecast for tomorrow, once again, not too bad. We'll be in the upper 80s, partly cloudy conditions, maybe a 20% chance of a shower. And then there's a look at the 7-day forecast. So once that ridge gets here, by Thursday, 96 on Thursday, 100 on Friday. You can see the 90s are heading back here, and just in time for the official arrival of summer, which we'll get here on Sunday, which is Father's Day. Ken's laughing at me going, no more heat, not the heat. But
summer's just a formality here,
exactly,
right? The first day.
But it has been very nice the last couple of weeks. So.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Let's check back in with Ken Smith. I'm sure it's lovely on the roads,
yes,
too.
You know, we've been so spoiled here in the month of June. So each day that we get, I am so happy that it's so nice and cool out, because we know what's coming here very shortly. All right, well, I got to tell you about a big accident still being cleaned up here. A traffic alert along the southbound side of I-15 right around Russell Road. That accident has been very stubborn to clear out. It's still out there blocking the left-hand lane this afternoon. Look at all this red here along the 15 freeway. Huge delay stretching back from the Spaghetti Bowl. I wanted to show you a live shot from our Harris Tower camera, and this is the proof in the pudding here, if you will, on the southbound side of I-15. Definitely a rough go. A parking lot that actually stretches once again from the Spaghetti Bowl all the way down. Your travel times here along the 15 freeway. Take a look at that. An hour delay from the Spaghetti Bowl heading down to the 215 on the southbound side of I-15. Paula, just one highway to avoid.
That is terrible. Thank you, Ken. The number of hate crimes is on the rise. The Leadership Conference on Civil Rights Education Fund says there has been an increase in white supremacist activity this year, in part, they said, stirred up by the election of President Barack Obama, our nation's first African-American leader. But they also theorized that the recession and a growing fear of immigrants has contributed as well. The coalition says the U.S. now averages a hate crime nearly every hour of every day. The report comes a week after a white supremacist killed a security guard at the U.S. Holocaust Museum. You've seen the video, a confrontation between a highway patrol trooper and a paramedic. Today we're hearing from the paramedic and a lawyer for the trooper. In cell phone video and newly released dash cam video, you can see an Oklahoma highway patrol trooper in a confrontation with a paramedic. You see Trooper Daniel Martin was upset because he claims the ambulance driver failed to yield to his vehicle. But there was a patient inside the ambulance. As the trooper was talking to the driver, paramedic Maurice White steps in and tells the trooper about the patient. But that's when the trooper slams him against the ambulance. Now both sides are speaking out.
The trooper was in a state of rage from the beginning. Even after being informed that we had a patient, there was total disregard. So he started in a state of rage and simply escalated from that point.
He's not this ogre, this constitutional depriver of people's rights. He's a good man.
Trooper Martin, though, is under investigation, but White says he wants the trooper's badge and gun taken away. Imagine going to the airport to pick up your 10-year-old grandchild and finding out the airline lost her. That's exactly what happened to grandparents in Cleveland, Ohio, who went to pick up their granddaughter Miriam at the airport. Miriam was supposed to be flying alone to Cleveland from Boston, but it turns out Continental Airlines mistakenly sent her on a plane to Newark, New Jersey.
She didn't realize she was lost for quite a while. She was curious as to why nobody picked her up.
Miriam's family says Continental Airlines couldn't tell them where she was for 45 minutes. The airline apologized and said there had been a staff miscommunication. The airline industry could be the next transportation industry to go broke. Wait until you see the amount of money they lost and how it could directly impact you in the future. Similar stories with tragic results, children killed and their mothers' boyfriends accused. Coming up new at 5, we take a closer look at what might drive men to kill.
This is Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 4:30 in high definition.
Buckle your seatbelts. It turns out the airline industry lost $9 billion. That's just through June. That's 2 times what the industry had expected. Now consumers are wondering if they will see more airlines slip into bankruptcy, just like automakers GM and Chrysler. Carol Costello has the details.
Forget the friendly skies. It's cold up there and a lot emptier. Evaporating consumer demand is costing the airline industry dearly. United lost $579 million so far this year. Delta $794 million. American lost $375 million.
You are now free to move about the country.
Even Southwest, an industry star, lost $91 million, forcing it to give up bragging rights.
Is this your first flight?
On Southwest Airlines, we don't charge fees for stuff that should be free. Southwest, fees don't fly with us.
Yes, even Southwest is now charging extra fees for pets and baggage.
After September 11th, airline revenues dropped about 7%. This year, we're facing a revenue drop of more than 15%.
Still, even if that does mean an auto industry type bankruptcy, no one is panicking just yet. It's not like the industry hasn't suffered bankruptcies before. After 9/11, more than one big carrier filed for protection and survived. But that doesn't mean they recovered.
The airline industry collectively hasn't made money in a long time.
That's why airlines are parking planes, which means fewer flights, less fuel costs, and fewer employees to pay. And of course it means higher fees and more crowded flights for you. Consultants like Mike Boyd are miffed the Obama administration isn't focused more on what's happening now in the airline industry. This administration, he writes, is not pro-air travel. Airliners run on jet fuel. Jet fuel comes from oil, and that's now officially considered to be evil. That's That's why Boyd and others say the administration is pushing trains over planes. Amtrak got $1.3 billion in the stimulus package, and there's another $8 billion for a high-speed rail system.
When the government is pushing so hard for rail, when there's really not as much of a demand for rail than air, we have a problem with that.
While airlines aren't asking for a bailout, they would like more of the stimulus pie to fix up air traffic control towers and airports themselves. The Department of Transportation told me aviation is an important sector of the economy, period, and that airports across the country will receive $1.1 billion in stimulus money. But critics say they need a shot in the public relations arm to get people flying again. Carol Costello, CNN, Washington.
As for General Motors, the automaker just signed a preliminary deal to sell Saab to a Swedish company. Koenigsegg Automotive, which is a luxury sports car maker, will take over the reins of Saab. The amount of the sale hasn't been released. GM just filed for bankruptcy earlier this month. That's it for Eyewitness News at 4:30. Eyewitness News at 5 is next.
Now, your number one 5 p.m. newscast. Channel 8 Eyewitness News in HD.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Nevada's junior Senator John Ensign said he had an affair with a close member of his personal staff.
That revelation comes today after, he says, a year of counseling and forgiveness from his wife.
I-Team reporter Jonathan Humbert was there when the senator made the admission. Where does he go from here, Jonathan?
Well, Dave, Paula Ensign, of course, had already been talked about as a possible contender for the White House in 2012. Today, right behind us, a very quiet, solemn man admitted to what he said was the worst thing he has ever done in his life. Now, Ensign, of course, just a short time ago, said that affair began a year ago between a close personal friend and her husband, both of them connected to Ensign's office. Sources say this may have been some sort of extortion or blackmail attempt by the couple, leading Ensign to come out in front of the story. He was unclear about what specifically happened or if all three of them were involved together. Ensign did say he repaired the marriage with his wife Darlene thanks to counseling. Ensign answered no questions today and said that he would remain committed to the people of Nevada.
I know that I have deeply hurt and disappointed my wife Darlene, my children, my family, friends, my staff, and all those who believed in me.
Now, arriving in Washington in 2001, Ensign was on a GOP political fast track. He was already on the Budget, Finance, and Homeland Security committees, as well as scoring leadership positions within the Republican Party. Now, just in the last month, Ensign had gone to Iowa, a presidential launch pad to try to see if there was support out there for him being the Republican nominee in 2012. No word on what's going to happen with that part of the campaign well into the future, some 1,200 days from now. Again, he said that he will remain United States Senator for the state of Nevada. Reporting live, Jonathan Humbert, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Jonathan. Senator Ensign's wife, Darlene, released a statement about the affair. She said, "Since we found out last year, we have worked through the situation and we have come to a reconciliation. This has been difficult on both families. With the help of our family and close friends, our marriage has become stronger." We also received a statement from Senator Harry Reid's office. He said, "This is a very personal matter. Senator Reid's thoughts are with Senator Ensign and his family as they go through this difficult time."
The mother of a toddler killed and dumped in a trash bin returned to the scene of the crime today to pay her respects. Darren Williams talked to Eyewitness News about the pain of losing her baby, and she lashed out at her now ex-boyfriend, William Marshall. He is behind bars, accused of murder and sexual assault of a child. Channel 8 Eyewitness News is live. Aaron Drawhorn there at Sierra Vista near Swenson with more on what family members said. Aaron?
Dave, the mother, Darren Williams, could hardly walk across this parking lot to get to this dumpster and this growing memorial to pay her respects. This mother broke down, filled with anguish and agony. Darren Williams is grief-stricken after losing her 21-month-old daughter, Shia Travis, in a tragic case of abuse. This mother in mourning took the painful step to visit the scene of the crime. This is where her baby's body was thrown in a dumpster.
I just want everybody to know that I love my baby. I love her a lot, and she's in heaven now.
Williams' live-in boyfriend, 37-year-old William Marshall, was arrested in Arizona Saturday night for the shocking crime. He was supposed to be babysitting Shia. Now he's jailed, accused of sexually assaulting and beating the toddler to death.
I hate you!
A furious Williams made her feelings about Marshall clearly known.
I hate you from the bottom of my heart!
Both were together last weekend, but investigators say Williams had no idea Shia was dead until the FBI showed up to arrest Marshall.
She is a little angel. I mean, what else can you say?
Shia's father says he's in disbelief. Chad Travis says he never noticed signs of trouble. He wants Marshall to pay.
I hope he gets the death penalty. I hope he gets the death penalty.
Williams' mother says her daughter was always a good parent, but made one bad choice.
Probably, I think maybe she trusted, the wrong person. That's the only thing I have to say.
Now this family looks to giving this innocent child the dignified burial she deserves. If you'd like to help out the family with funeral expenses, a benefit fund has been set up at Wells Fargo Bank. The main suspect, Marshall, will be extradited from Arizona to Nevada to face these very serious charges. That's our story. We are live. Aaron Drawhorn, Channel 8, Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Aaron. Different story now. Metro Police searching for the person of interest in the murder of a 2-year-old girl. Police want to talk to the boyfriend of the child's mother, Emmanuel Dwayne Dodson. The little girl's mother called 911 Sunday morning saying her child had stopped breathing. By the time medical crews arrived, the toddler had already died. An autopsy later revealed she died from blunt force trauma. The I-team has learned the family has no history with Child Protective Services locally, though we're told authorities are searching the records in California. Police say Dodson is from L.A. and could be headed to that area. If you have information, please call Crime Stoppers.
A judge set bail at $400,000 for the man accused of tying up and gagging his girlfriend's 2 young children. Jonathan Weaver faces several charges, including attempted murder. Weaver told police he tied up the boys because he wanted to go watch a basketball game with his friends. He said he tied up their hands so they wouldn't be able to reach anything dangerous like tools. Weaver is due back in court next week. In the last week, 3 men in the Valley have been accused of beating or killing their girlfriend's child. That last story was not a killing. You may wonder what's going on. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Melissa Duran took a deeper look, and she joins us now with more.
Well, Paula, it's hard to call this a trend just yet because each case is going to be a little different. But one family therapist we talked to says as blended families become the norm, there could be an increase in child abuse.
It's becoming all too familiar. Children who die or are hurt at the hands of their mother's boyfriend.
Children don't get themselves into abusive relationships. Parents do. And children don't get themselves into risky lifestyle behaviors. The parents do.
Just a few years ago, Crystal Figueroa was beaten and killed at the hands of Mark Colon, her mother's boyfriend. Crystal's body left in a dumpster. And this last week, 3 different cases of possible boyfriend abuse, 2 resulting in death. Marriage and family therapist Claudia Schwartz says there are several reasons why boyfriends and girlfriends snap.
It's difficult to raise your own biological children and have tolerance and patience for them, but when you're thrust into a situation where you're unfamiliar or you just have no coping skills, then it becomes a problem.
Feeling a loss of control in the relationship could also feed the problem. She says unfortunately abusive boyfriends could become a trend as blended families become the norm.
Women in particular struggle if they are divorced or they're single parents, that they want to have that intact family. They'd like to have a father figure for their children. That's understandable.
Schwartz says it is possible for a boyfriend or girlfriend to love and care for a child that is not theirs, but she says that connection isn't always there. Signs of intolerance and impatience may start to show up, whether it be verbal abuse or even neglect.
You don't wait to see how things will pan out or wait to see if things will change. You are the only person that's in control of your own children, and you have to make the change.
And if a change isn't made in time, sadly, it's the children who may pay the price.
Other warning signs there may be anger issues include slamming of doors, even getting into frequent minor car accidents. The therapist says there is affordable help out there. Many therapists are offering help on a sliding pay scale. Dave?
Thanks, Melissa. And Metro Police have made an arrest in a 15-year-old cold case involving a murdered child left in a dumpster. 36-year-old Greg Wallen was arrested last night for the April 1994 murder and sexual assault of 8-year-old Diana Hernandez. Her body found in a dumpster in an apartment complex near Flamingo and Maryland. The coroner ruled her death was caused by blunt force trauma and/or asphyxiation. Metro says DNA evidence helped lead them to Wallen, who is a convicted sex offender.
A Nevada state senator is resigning his position. Next, Warren Hardy discusses why he's stepping down and what's next for him.
A class action lawsuit against owners of a firearms training center. Plaintiffs now growing a little more frustrated. The I-Team has the latest on this ongoing battle.
Once again outside this afternoon, lots of moisture in the form of clouds. So after the warmest May ever on record here in Las Vegas last month, look at the radar there and chance of maybe some showers here later on tonight. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up in a few minutes.
This is Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 5 in high definition.
State Senator Warren Hardy is stepping down from the legislature, saying he needs to focus on his full-time job.
So I made the difficult decision to feed my family over serving in the legislature. It's been the honor of my life to serve, and I'll never forget the service there, and it's time to move on.
Hardy works for Associated Building and Contractors. He says because of the economy, he's been asked to take on additional responsibilities, including becoming their lobbyist. And he felt serving as a lobbyist and a lawmaker was inappropriate. Hardy says he plans to support Assemblyman Joe Hardy to fill the Senate seat, which represents Clark County.
The number of students out sick at a local elementary school is dropping. Marion Earl Elementary reported 126 absences today. The most absences came on Friday when 365 students were missing from class, more than half the student body. Not all the students are sick, but many parents have kept their children home because students had tested positive for the H1N1 virus.
A local family wakes today to find threats outside their home. Why? The discovery led to a neighborhood evacuation and a school lockdown. Plus,
but something like this I've never seen in my life.
A very strange sight for spring. A rare storm hammers New Jersey, prompting plows to come out and clear the roads.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 5 with Dave Courvoiser and Paula Francis. The first local news in HD.
You know, hundreds invested in what was to be the safest community in America, a housing development on a gun range not far from Pahrump.
But when the dream failed to materialize, some members of the Front Sight Firearms Training Institute went to court. 3 years later, they're still there, with some members now breaking ranks.
And I-Team reporter Colleen McCarty has the latest on a story that we've been covering this for 3 years now.
It's the never-ending story. Yeah. In mid-May, it seemed, Ignatius Piazza, the president of the Front Sight Firearms Training Institute, had finally gone too far. In response to his refusal to pay a multi-million-dollar settlement, a federal judge ordered a receiver to take control of Front Sight, its facilities, its operations, and its assets. The move pushed both sides back to the table, but some members are now telling the judge they don't like the result. Front Sight members Jerry Matsumura and Eric Johnson seen here, both filed letters with Judge James Ware questioning the move by their own attorney to terminate the receivership after only a week. Without it, they argue, quote, defendants and others get profits, the class members get empty promises. Front Sight still owes more than $5 million of the class action settlement. Some $200,000 of it belongs to Johnson.
I, and at least the few that I've been able to talk to, were very happy with the appointment of the receiver as somebody running Front Sight besides Piazza. History has said that he's not going to honor the judgment. So, assumingly a receiver would.
The judge sealed the transcripts of the hearing where the receivership was dissolved, so it's unclear exactly what was discussed. Class action attorney Keith Greer tells the I-Team he never asked for the receiver and believes it's bad for business. Greer insists he's in the process of restructuring the payment schedule with Front Sight and expects to have an agreement soon. He says it will include all of the original settlement monies plus interest with no reduction for attorney's fees. A hearing on this matter is scheduled for early July, and we've put a lot of the relevant documents on our website at LasVegasNow.com.
Goes on.
Maybe another 3 years. Yeah, we'll see, Colleen. Thank you.
Residents in New Jersey were surprised to wake up this morning and have to dig out their shovels. A powerful June storm dropped so much hail that city plows had to be called out. People who live in Washington Township said they never imagined they'd be shoveling in sandals. Icy conditions and flash floods forced officials to close streets, and high winds knocked down trees right on top of a house.
Out there shoveling the ice in shorts.
I know, right? Exactly.
Seem right.
Some of that seemed very odd right there.
Golly.
You know, there was a time when you'd get 80s in June, you'd be like, hey, you know, this is really cool. But including today, this will be our 10th day so far. We've had temperatures topping out only in the 80s. So it's been really, really cool. And it's going to stop here in the next couple of days. So enjoy it while it lasts. There's a beautiful look outside. For the most part, pretty overcast because we do have a storm system that's working its way through the valley, and it will linger into tonight. That's why there's a chance of maybe some showers for us right now, including even into later on tonight as this airflow pressure slowly works its way off towards the east. Temperature-wise, though, once again, very comfortable. Upper 70s, mid to lower 80s. Mount Vista at 85, the warmest temperature there. You can see Pioche and Tonopah in the mid to upper 60s. Amargosa Valley at 85. You can see, look at Searchlight at 75 degrees. Boulder City, you're at 81. Once again, very nice, very comfortable. The typical high is 99 degrees. You can see Lake Mead at 86, Laughlin at 85, and Prim checking in right now at 82 degrees. So a lot of cloud cover. Once again, a lot of moisture in place. That'll be here probably until late tonight because we do have an airflow pressure that's sitting right back towards the coast near Fresno and Bakersfield as it slowly works its way off towards the east. That gives us a chance of a shower or two. Here's a look at what's going on. There's a couple of spotty showers south of Beatty right now, and as we zoom in a little bit closer, maybe a chance that maybe south of Henderson, down near Paradise, that some of this moisture right here might hold together and slowly drift up towards the north. See it right there? So maybe if we zoom in a little bit closer, we can see exactly what's going on here. This is all part of that little airflow pressure working its way through. So south of Henderson, near Paradise, maybe some of that moisture hold together, and maybe get a couple of sprinkles here, but that's about it. So here's the reason why it's been so cool the past couple of weeks. We have that trough still in place. That allows the jet stream to dip way down to the south. All the cool air continues to filter in. But you see back towards the west, I had the word warmer there. That's the ridge they'll get here by the middle of the week, and that's why we're going to start to see things begin to warm up. In fact, the typical high is 99. We're going to get closer to those numbers as we'll take a look at the 7-day forecast. And there's a look at that low that's kind of working its way through, and it'll get out of here by tomorrow. So as far as tonight, I think we'll get down to about 70, a lot of cloud cover, slight chance of a shower. Winds out of the southeast 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow in the upper 80s, still a slight chance of a shower as that airflow pressure works its way off towards the east. And then look at there, here comes the heat. 96 on Thursday. We get to triple digits by Friday, still in the 90s Saturday and Sunday. And look at Monday and Tuesday, 99 and 101. All right, go ahead and toss it back to Paula and Dave. See you guys a little later on.
Thanks, Darren.
Lawmakers outraged after learning thousands of military veterans may have been exposed to deadly diseases.
If heads have to roll, heads have to roll.
We reveal what happened inside VA hospitals in at least 3 states that put veterans' health at risk.
Coming up, letters to the judge. Bernie Madoff's alleged victims weigh in on the punishment they think fits the crime. Tonight only on the CBS Evening News.
Local Mormon family says they woke up this morning to find they were the victim of a hate crime. It happened this morning at the corner of English Channel and Orchard Valley, that's on the east side near Charleston and Hollywood. Outside the home, someone had written in chalk, "I hunt Mormons." There was also a drawing of a bomb and the words "car bomb" written in the driveway. Metro's bomb squad came out, evacuated the area, locked down nearby Goldfarb Elementary. Luckily, no bomb was found, no one hurt.
We take any type of hate crime very seriously, and these things will be investigated completely. Anyone that's out there and whoever perpetrated this, you will be found out, and you're going to have to face prosecution.
Just down the road, there was more sidewalk chalk graffiti. This one said "murders" with arrows pointing to several homes. If you have any information about either incident, please call Crime Stoppers.
10,000 U.S. veterans may have been exposed to diseases like HIV and hepatitis B and C because of unsafe medical practices at VA hospitals. That's after a report from the Department of Veterans Affairs revealed mistakes being made at VA hospitals. One of those mistakes happened in Florida, where a colonoscopy tube that was only sterile sterilized at the end of the day instead of after each use. Now, thousands of patients are being called back for testing, including Timothy Chisholm.
These are men that, you know, some of them, they give their life for this country. They do everything, and they don't deserve to come back to this.
As of last week, 6 patients had tested positive for HIV, 34 for hepatitis C, and 13 for hepatitis B. Lawmakers grilled VA officials about the report and demanded change. VA officials say they're already working to make sure this never happens again. The owners of a Las Vegas-based company linked to a deadly pet food recall pled guilty today in federal court. Stephen and Sally Miller have reached a plea agreement in connection with tainted pet food that killed dozens of dogs and cats in 2007. The couple and their company, Chem Nutra, were indicted last year on charges of importing tainted wheat gluten and selling it to pet food makers.
Cirque du Soleil celebrates its anniversary with a big goal in mind. Performers take their talents to the street, hoping to break a world record. Their tall attempt next.
This portion of Eyewitness News in HD is brought to you by Nevada Loan Modification. Your real mortgage problems need real attorneys. Call 387-7111 for your free in-home consultation.
Today, over 1,000 stilt walkers set out to break a world record in 6 cities, including Las Vegas. It was part of Cirque du Soleil's 25th anniversary celebration. Now, 5 years ago, they set the Guinness World Record for the most people simultaneously walking on stilts, but then last year, a group in Canada beat that record with 625 stilt walkers. Well, today, over 1,900 people participated around the world. Of course, it may take several days before the record is made official.
Here's a look at the news stories we're working on for you tonight at 6. They are the trained professionals we count on when we need immediate emergency care. But Nevada faces a serious shortage of ER doctors. We look into the solution that has doctors signing up to treat patients here. And another sign of recovery in the housing market. It's the industry that pushed us into the longest recession since the Great Depression. And the latest figures show it is slowly picking up. Those stories at 6.
Thanks for watching Eyewitness News at 5. If you'd like more information, find us on the web.
And coming up, how does President Obama intend to cover the cost of health care reform? A reality check on CBS.